In the heart of a vast and ancient forest, a clever jackal named Chandar lived his days. He was always on the lookout for a tasty meal, his sharp eyes scanning the clearings and his nose twitching, catching every scent on the wind. One afternoon, his quest for food led him a little too close to a village. The delicious smell of cooking filled the air, drawing him nearer and nearer. He crept silently through the tall grass, his paws making no sound on the dry earth. He thought he was being very sneaky, but he was not as careful as he believed. The village was not as quiet as it seemed, and danger was just around the corner, waiting for a single mistake. Suddenly, a loud and fearsome barking erupted from the village huts. A pack of large, angry dogs had spotted Chandar. Their barks echoed through the quiet afternoon, a sound that meant trouble for any wild creature. Chandar's heart leapt into his throat. His plans for a quiet snack were instantly forgotten. He turned and ran as fast as his legs could carry him, a blur of brown fur dashing away from the noise. The dogs were close behind, their powerful legs eating up the ground between them. Chandar knew he had to find a place to hide, and he had to find it quickly or he would surely be caught. He zigzagged through the trees, his breath coming in short, sharp gasps. The forest, usually his friend, now seemed full of obstacles. He dodged thorny bushes and leapt over fallen logs, but the sound of the barking grew louder and louder. The dogs were relentless, driven by the thrill of the chase. Chandar could feel their hot breath getting closer. He was growing tired, and his legs were beginning to ache from the desperate sprint. He risked a quick glance over his shoulder and saw the dogs, their teeth bared, just a few paces away. Fear gave him a new burst of energy, and he pushed himself to run even faster. Just as he thought all hope was lost, he saw an old forgotten hut on the edge of the forest. It belonged to a washerman, someone who washes clothes for the village. Without a second thought, Chandar darted inside, desperate for any shelter. He scrambled into the first thing he could find, a very large vat filled with a strange-smelling liquid. He huddled down, his body trembling, listening as the dogs ran past the hut, their barks slowly fading into the distance. Safe at last. He let out a long sigh of relief, completely unaware of the incredible change that was about to happen to him inside that dark and quiet hut. After waiting for a long time to be sure the dogs were truly gone, Chandar cautiously climbed out of the big pot. He shook his fur, sending droplets flying everywhere. But when he looked down at his paws, he gasped in astonishment. They were not their usual dusty brown color. Instead, they were a brilliant, vibrant blue, the color of the deep ocean or a summer sky at twilight. He looked at his tail, his body, and his face in a puddle of water on the floor. It was all true. He was blue from the tip of his nose to the end of his tail. He had fallen into a vat of indigo dye, a special liquid used to color clothes. At first, Chandar was worried. How could he return to his family? What would the other jackals think of his strange new color? He had never seen a blue animal before in his entire life. He felt strange and different and a little bit lonely. He walked slowly back towards the main part of the forest, his mind racing with thoughts and fears. He tried to rub the color off against a tree trunk, but it would not budge. The dye had soaked deep into his fur, changing him completely. He was no longer just Chandar, the clever jackal. He was now a mysterious blue creature, a sight no one had ever seen before. As he wandered deeper into the woods, the other animals began to notice him. A monkey, high up in a tree, stopped eating its banana and stared with wide eyes. A deer drinking from a stream lifted its head and froze, its ears twitching nervously. None of them had ever witnessed such a magnificent, strange animal. They had seen tigers and elephants, bears and peacocks. But a creature of this stunning blue color was a complete mystery. They whispered to one another, wondering if he was a powerful spirit from another world or a special messenger sent by the gods of the forest. Chandar noticed their fear and awe. He saw the respect in their eyes, and a clever idea began to form in his clever mind. Instead of being scared of his new appearance, perhaps he could use it to his advantage. He held his head up high and puffed out his chest, trying to look as important and powerful as he could. He walked with a slow, deliberate pace, as if he owned the entire forest. The animals parted before him, bowing their heads in reverence. A little spark of ambition lit up inside him. This blue coat was not a curse, it was a wonderful disguise. With his newfound confidence, the blue jackal decided to put his plan into action. He gathered all the animals of the forest together in a large, open clearing. The mighty lion, the great elephant, the swift tiger, and all the smaller creatures came to see the mysterious blue being. Chandar stood on a high rock so that everyone could see him. He spoke in a deep, booming voice that he did not know he had. He told them that he had been sent by the great sky spirits to be their protector and their king. He declared that he was a special creature, unlike any other, and that they must all obey him. The animals were completely convinced. They had never seen anything like him, and his grand words filled them with wonder and respect. The lion, who had always thought of himself as the king, bowed his head to the strange blue creature. The elephant raised its trunk in a salute. They believed that such a unique animal must surely have special powers. They made him their king right then and there. They promised to serve him, to bring him the best food, and to protect him from any harm. Chandar, the simple jackal, had become the ruler of the entire forest, all because of a pot of blue dye. Life as the king was wonderful. Chandar, who now called himself the Royal Blue Guardian, did not have to hunt for his own food anymore. The other animals brought him the juiciest fruits and the tastiest roots and the freshest water every single day. He sat on his rock throne, enjoying his new life of ease and luxury. He became very proud and bossy, ordering the other animals around. He even banished all the other jackals from his court, fearing that they might recognize him. He wanted no connection to his old, humble life. He was a king now, and he had to look and act the part at all times. His arrogance grew with each passing day. He started to believe his own story, forgetting that underneath his magnificent blue coat, he was still just an ordinary jackal. He strutted around the forest as if he were the most important being in the world. He made the bigger animals his guards and the smaller ones his servants. He loved the power he had over them. He would listen to their problems and give grand kingly advice, even though he knew very little. He was so caught up in pretending to be someone else that he lost touch with who he truly was. One beautiful evening, as the full moon rose high in the sky, a familiar sound drifted through the forest. It was the sound of a pack of jackals howling. They were singing to the moon, as jackals have always done for thousands of years. From his royal clearing, Chandar heard their call. It was a sound he knew deep in his bones, a sound that was part of his very being. For a moment he forgot that he was a king. He forgot about his blue fur and his grand titles. He only remembered that he was a jackal, and the call of his kind was too strong to resist. Without thinking, he threw his head back and let out a loud, long howl that echoed through the night. It was the unmistakable howl of a common jackal. All the animals in his court, who were sleeping nearby, woke up with a start. The lion, the tiger, and the elephant listened carefully. They had heard that sound before. It was not the cry of a divine spirit or a magical creature. It was the simple, everyday howl of a jackal. They looked at their blue king, who was still howling with joy, and then they looked at each other. The truth dawned on them in an instant. They had been tricked. Their magnificent blue king was not a special creature sent from the sky. He was just a common jackal who had somehow turned blue. The animals felt very foolish and very angry. They had been serving a trickster, bringing him food and obeying his every command. The lion roared with fury and the tiger growled, its eyes flashing in the moonlight. They realized that their king was a fraud. They had been bowing to a liar who had used a clever disguise to fool them all and take advantage of their trust. The animals, now a furious mob, charged towards the blue jackal. Seeing their angry faces, Chandar stopped howling and realized his terrible mistake. His disguise was gone forever. Panic filled his heart, and he leapt from his rock and ran for his life, just as he had run from the dogs. The animals chased him out of the forest, shouting that they never wanted to see the lying jackal again. And so Chandar lost everything, his kingdom, his friends, and his home. The story teaches us a simple lesson. Pretending to be someone you are not can never last. It is always better to be honest and true to yourself. Even after being chased away, Chandar learned that true happiness comes from accepting who you are, not from a fancy color.